Matt and Jers, we are back. Sandy Farms week. The question on everybody's mind: what if Nick Dunn learned to drive over the last 2 months?
We would be having a very different podcast right now. We would be in great spirits. I know that you wanted an American victory, but you predicted a European victory. The pod would probably be in better spirits. He surely would have been on that team if he was able to drive a true what could have been. But we have 2 years to get back on that track, to get him to Ireland and hopefully make something happen.
Yeah, it was. I got back to New York on Thursday night late, so it was perfect. Got in position to watch. How much did you watch at first? Just so we're on. I watched, I would say, a good chunk of Friday, a good chunk of Saturday, and then I tuned in back 9 Sunday once it looked like it was kind of getting interesting. But just I want to make sure we're talking the same
Yeah,
nuggets. What did you take in?
I would say 80% of Sunday and then 50% of the first 2 days. I watched the early sessions on both Friday and Saturday, and a good majority of Sunday. So I was pretty in tune with a lot of it all week. So I mean, obviously didn't go well at the gates, but Sunday was one of the best television I've seen in some time. So I watched a decent bit.
How did it compare to the back 9 of the Zurich?
That's a good question. The back 9 of the Zurich was probably a better watch because I had like something to sweat. I didn't really bet this too intensely. It's just a Ryder Cup. I was just more rooting for the Americans. I was really getting into the American spirit, though. I was like, I'm chanting USA, chanting America, chanting Rock, Flag, and Eagle after every putt made. Like Kohler and I were dialed on the couch, standing up. Like we had football on the big TV. We moved the Ryder Cup to the big TV when it got, because we didn't have, it was a blowout. Then when it started to get intense, we were like, all right, we got to put the volume on the Ryder Cup, get it going. So it was an official watch, and I was pretty into it on Sunday.
Because there's a lot to break down. I don't even know if we'll get to the Sandy Farms. This is there's a lot to talk about. Some Vic laps for sure. I think a reasonable amount of Vic laps, at least for me, but a lot of points of discussion. And I'm not even sure which side of some of these points of discussion you fall on. So I'm excited to do this in real time. Because, and I honestly don't even know where to start. We could go back. We need to clip this because you and I were on the pod in real time when we found out that Keegan was going to be the captain of the team. We were surprised. We were, I will have to listen back. I don't remember exactly what we said. I don't believe we were confident based on the selection. Then a lot of time has gone past. We dealt with over the summer BG. Will he be on the team? Will he not be on the team? Will I have to root for Europe? Will I be allowed to stay an American? It was up in the air. It then turned out that BG was going to be on the team. I was ready to get behind Team America, and I was excited. I really was. However, September 3rd, I have it pulled up here in front of me. I tweeted September 3rd. I think, unlike most years, the U.S. is better in difficult conditions this time and should make it as difficult as possible. I don't know how much difference it will make in the end, but that's the optimal strategy. Now,
so we'll start with Keegan. Yeah.
Now people are saying, some people, that there's no way we could have made the course better one way or the other. It is what it is. I just am wondering how. And I thought about it. Took me about 15 minutes to come up. I was doing other things and I was like, let me check something because I had a hunch that the Euros this year were spraying it a little bit more, weren't quite as in difficult. We're more birdie fest guys. We had some more difficult conditions, some positional guys. I just had a hunch, looked it up, the data backed it up. When I saw, and then going into the week, I didn't know what the course setup was going to be. Obviously, we didn't have boots. We weren't there. I was out in SF. I didn't have hardly any time to look into this at all. But as the week went on, I started seeing some tweets. Rough's the shortest it's ever been. Locals,
locals fuming.
Locals out of their minds about the situation. The sign's been taken down. Like, I was seeing some very concerning stuff. The greens are the softest that they've ever been before it's even going to rain. And I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't make a lot of sense based on
Yeah,
what I'm seeing in the numbers. For that reason, I have no choice from a betting perspective of being behind Europe. I didn't
you're
want
right.
it this way,
No.
but not like this wasn't something that people could have figured out and put into action.
No, you're 100% right. And what caught me off guard was I saw the Harris English quote. I mean, we know Bethpage Black, the mighty Bethpage Black, has history, a very tough golf course. Then Harris goes out and says, if this was a 72-hole stroke play event, I don't remember exactly what he said in
Minus
score, but it
20,
would
I think.
be, yeah, he said something like that. And I'm like, I trust Harris's opinion on things, I guess. And I mean, any golfer knows like -20 versus -3 is a lot different. So I was like, "What? This doesn't seem right." And obviously, like you said, we weren't there. We didn't have boots. We didn't know. But when that does back up everything you said going into the weekend with you said on September 3rd, we needed a difficult setup. And then they asked Keegan, and I'm sure you saw his quotes after that. So I guess touch on what he said and what did you think his reaction to that
Yeah.
was?
And so what you're referencing is Keegan in the final press conference said that his
Mhm.
biggest thing he would do differently next time is the course setup and not having the rough be as short as it was. Also, before touching on that, I think the funniest moment of the Rome Ryder Cup was Zach Johnson telling Spieth to hit it in the water, and he switched clubs and
Great
hit in the
tweet.
water. My funniest moment of this Ryder Cup was 18 on Saturday morning. Bob Vic had just made that putt on 17 to keep Bob Mack and Vic
Mhm.
one up
That par putt.
on, yeah, one up on, I don't remember who they were playing. Maybe Pat or Xander. It was Pat.
Xander and Pat. Xander and Pat.
Okay. Bob Mack hooks one way right on 18,
Way right.
and no one on the rest of the tee is signaling for right. Keegan is up there like pointing wildly right. I'm like, this has to be so far right. Comes to rest on the very edge of the shorter rough line in a perfect lie, and I'm just thinking this is the perfect example. Keegan, you're wildly gesturing right on this crazy off the planet drive from Vic or from Bob Mack,
Bob.
and then the lie is perfect, and it's actually going to be easier to hit it closer to the pin than it is from the fairway because there's not going to be as much spin on the ball. That was, to me, that was the funniest moment of the Ryder Cup. But
Sorry, that was never. I think that might have been versus Henley and Scheffler.
yeah, I was going to say I think it was Scotty because Scotty was kind
Yeah,
of
Henley and Scheffler.
neither Scotty or Russ like pointed wildly right. I think they were just so
Mhm.
pissed about the situation that
Yeah.
they were in, and it was Keegan who was wildly pointing right. But he did say afterwards that that's what he would do differently. And I think going back to even what I tweeted on the third saying, I don't know how much of a difference this makes in the end, but I think it's the optimal strategy. And at the end of the day, people talk about like how much impact the captain can have one way or the other. I agree.
Right.
It's only so much. And I don't know to what
100%
degree
agree.
that it is, but you should still do whatever the best plan is and set your team up for the most success. And turning the course, and this was so then on last week when I was putting together the write up for the week and thinking about who I was going to bet and digging in deeper, I realized, okay, this is going to be a birdie or better competition from like 175 to like 225 iron shots.
Rory, Rahm.
And then when you look at the numbers, it wasn't that Team Europe was way better than the US in that specific stat. Europe was just a tiny bit better than the US in that stat. But the whole point of optimizing the setup is to give yourself the best chance. And why are you handing over the slight edge to the opponent? That's not why Europe won. They did a lot of other things really well.
Right.
But give yourself the best chance to win. And he did not do that. And I genuinely think he's the worst Ryder Cup captain in American history by whatever the measure is. He's beyond measure because you have a home Ryder Cup. And this is why we also talked about with Keegan. And this, I guess, is why when I say that he was the worst ever, I don't fully blame him for it. He didn't choose to be the captain. He was given the captain. We had to sacrifice. We talked about this in the lead up too. None of this is stuff that couldn't have been thought about. Like, we're not geniuses. We're not the smartest people in the world. We just think about golf a lot. Why did we take away one of our most skilled players to make him a captain when we didn't know if he had any skills as a captain? And clearly he didn't. This was the worst case scenario, was that he would be a bad captain at something like the course setup. I don't know what he did from a vibes perspective. We can talk about the pairings. That's its own beast.
Mhm.
But if he's going to set up the course the wrong way and not play in the event, what a disaster. What a disaster that is. And that's why I'm the most
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah, and I'll give my bit on the captaincy, and I obviously, if you guys read this on the site, I talked about the role of the captain. I truly think it is not the most difficult job in the golfing world. I really think it's very easy to just simply do the obvious things correctly, set up the course, and don't do the glaring weaknesses pairings incorrectly. And I know a lot of people talked about the what was it, Morikawa English pairing was like the worst combination possible per data golf numbers. And then I also wrote just avoid this one pairing, avoid Bryson JT an alternate shot. I don't know how you can make those two obvious mistakes to not pair. Whereas Luke Donald, he does the obvious things right. Yeah, like Rory and Tommy, those two guys are good at golf. Let's make them play together. And he doesn't do anything quite objectively insane, like pair Bob Mack and Rasmus Højgaard. Like, it's not rocket science, truly. And I think Keegan, I don't know who he talked to, who was in his ear, got too cute with some things, but making Bethpage look like Bethpage yellow, and then putting those few pairings out that, and then running them back was
The
just
run it
like
back. And then like,
the running back was so
and
good.
and I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, to me, the captain can't win the event, but they can set you up to lose the event. And I think that's
100%,
what
100%.
happened here. And I think like people talk about the putting and they're like, oh, well, Europe just, putted so well and there's luck in putting. That's true. And when we bet on golf, nobody knows how annoying putting is more than people who bet on golf and what an impact of that is. However, and I tweeted this too, pressure putting is a skill. And these greens were not complicated. This was pure, when it came down to putting, it was putting with dog. It was, can you remain calm and put a
Justin
good stroke
motherfucking
on the
Rose.
ball? Because if you do, it's probably going in because there's literally no break in these greens for the most part, and they're going to go in the center. So pressure putting is a skill. Europe has proven year after year after year in
It's
the
a
Ryder
given.
Cup that they're better than us at pressure putting in the Ryder Cup. And then the course was set up by Keegan. I don't know who chose how to set up the course, but at the end
To
of the day,
amplify pressure putts.
to amplify pressure putting. And that's where, for people who are saying like, oh, it's not the captain's fault, whatever. It's not the captain's fault necessarily that Scotty got no points for the first 4 matches. Scotty needs to play better. But again, you can't win the Ryder Cup as a captain, but when you're the home captain, setting up the course to benefit the opponent is one of the worst things you can possibly do. And that's why I'm saying he's the worst captain ever, because it was a home Ryder Cup and he took away the advantage that we have in a home Ryder Cup and turned it into. And when I picked Europe, I also wrote, I still think the Americans have a slight edge. I just think the odds are better for Europe because I think it's closer than the odds make it. You can't turn it into a coin flip on course setup when you have the advantage. And that's what I'm most upset about.
Yeah, I mean, it's unforgivable, truly. Like, there's nothing else to say. Like, you have that job, and he obviously admitted to regret it, but I don't know how he could have ever got to that point. But
That's what I don't understand is like
like
how we talk about these things and we go to Boots and we talk about like some players seem like they know more about strategy and what to do than other
others.
players. And then, I mean, I don't like, I already,
I
have
mean,
beef with-
we this happens a lot to us because we go to places, talk to players and caddies, and disagree with them completely on certain things. I don't know if that happened this week where like they were. I mean, clearly it did. Like, and he admitted to being wrong in the end, but I don't know how this could happen when you're at the highest stature of your level for a given week. The whole world's watching. How could you mess it up that badly?
Yeah, and I think that's where, to your point, like when sometimes we talk to caddies or players when we're at Boots, and we have I would say like betting on golf is very, very hard. I don't claim to by any means an expert on betting on golf. I think we're really good at course handicapping, and I think we're really good at knowing like how a course is going to play. I don't know what percentage of golfers on the PGA Tour aren't good at that or like don't focus on that, and they don't need to because their job is honestly, and we've talked about this before too, being kind of brain dead out on the course and having
It's a good thing.
is a good thing. have your caddy tell you what to do. Have a Ted Scott tell you what to do. And then, Scotty, you just hit the ball where Ted Scott tells you to. You don't need to be the one who's thinking about it. What we see sometimes, I think, when people become Ryder Cup captain is that just because you're a really good golfer doesn't mean, like, from a strategy or optimization standpoint, that's what you're going to be good at. But that's why Europe is so great, is they've found the people with, like, Eduardo Molinari telling Luke Donald what to do, that they have the right people in the conversation. And I don't know who that needs to be from our side, but how Keegan on Saturday could give a quote. I have to read this. He said, "I think historically we play faster greens on the PGA Tour than they do," referring to the Europeans. "Obviously, when we go over to their British Open, the greens are considerably slower than what we play on in an average week." My question for Keegan would be, don't you see, didn't you play the final group of Travelers with Tommy? Didn't you see him out there? Like, is Keegan going to be mind blown when he shows up at the first tour event next year and he sees all the Europeans? Like, where'd these guys come from? I thought they played the TP. Like, how could that ever be said? I don't understand how those words could be spoken.
Yeah, I saw when you posted on Twitter, I was like, I had to double take it because I thought I read it wrong. I was like, but these are the same guys. Like, they're playing with them every single week. A lot of head scratching things from Mr. Keegan Bradley, and I don't know how he recovers from this. I mean, he's not gonna be the captain again, but, like, is this gonna give him, like, a mental block going forward in his PGA Tour career? Like, where does Keegan go from here? Because I mean, he's definitely feeling it a lot. He has to. I mean, we know he cares. We know, like, he's a great guy, but, like, how does he go from here? Like, where does he go from here?
Like, I will say, I am actually not mad at Keegan. I think he was the worst captain ever, and I think the strategy done by the US, someone who put 30 minutes of effort to it could have figured out a better way to do it, and to me, that's unacceptable because we've had 2 years to prepare for it. Anyone in the world could have gone to Keegan and tried to figure out a better way to do it. So I think it's unacceptable, but you also can't expect somebody to do things that they're not capable of doing. And I think, like, I never thought that Keegan was going to be some sort of match to Luke Donald or to Eduardo Molinari in course strategy or, like, optimization. And that's why I was so upset of why he was made the captain in the first place. Because want to know what I know Keegan would have done good this week? Golf
Well. He would have played well. He would have showed dog. He would have fought. And it's not like he's retired.
He would have made putts.
Like 2 years ago.
He would have made so many putts. He would have been bowing to the putter. That's what I'm upset about. So I don't blame him for that. He didn't choose to be the captain. They made him the captain. And whoever made him the captain, it's their fault.
Yeah, well, that's their fault. It is their fault. I totally agree with you. No beef to Keegan. What are you going to do? Say no to the captaincy? You're going to say yes.
And then he tried. His only skill as captain was, like, try to fire people up, strokes gained America, and get Trump on the tee. And he tried his best. He tried from a strokes gained America perspective.
Sunday almost worked.
Yeah. He applied strokes gained America as best he could. The problem is this Europe team is nice. They're good.
Good golf.
And their captain knows what he's doing. And we needed to we weren't going to Keegan, if he was the captain at Whistling Straits, we would have won. We would have won at Whistling Straits because that US team was just so much better than the European team.
Yeah,
it was COVID. There was no European fans. Like, there was a lot of European fans there. You go to Central Park on a Wednesday, there's a lot of European people there. There's a lot of European people in New York. It wasn't going to be like, we'll talk about the crowd, but, like, there was still going to be support for the European side. And, like, guys would make birdies, and that cheer was as loud as I've heard in an away Ryder Cup for any team, at least in my time of, like, watching the Ryder Cup. So
did you hear it from Central Park or no?
Yeah, I did. I was when Victor made that putt on 17 on Saturday morning.
What the hell
I was like,
that?
Where's that coming from? But
I got you.
I just think, like, there was this assumption that, that's the Ryder Cup at Bethpage and, like, strokes gained America is going to get the job done. I never really thought that was going to be the case. I think to beat Europe in the Ryder Cup with how good they are, we've got to come up with a good plan for what we're doing, and then to defile Bethpage and turn it into I'm not even going to disrespect Valhalla. I tweeted Valhalla North, but it was worse than Valhalla. Valhalla would have put up a tougher test than Bethpage did this week. Like, if you're going to then do that, I have to blame you, because you could have just left Bethpage as it was. We probably would have won. And if we didn't, then we wouldn't be able to say, like, why did you do that in the first place? He did, but strokes gained America. He tried. I'll give him
Tried.
that.
Yeah, tried. Sunday was amazing. The guys showed fight. The guys looked like they were fighting for as long as they could on Sunday. I mean, everyone played good. I know Russ is getting a bad rap, but Russ played amazingly on Sunday. And I guess the next thing to ask you and talk about is the Hovland English situation. Do you want to touch on that?
Can I touch on Russ first?
Yeah, yeah,
Since
of
I brought him up.
course. Russ was bad the first 2 days.
My dad, for example, he's a pod listener. He listens to the pod. He knows Russ.
Shout
Like
out.
he's aware of what Russ is as a golfer. I would
Yeah.
say my brother, golf fan, but not in the weeds on a week to week basis with a guy like Russell Henley. When it was clear that it was going to come,
comp.
yeah, when it was clear it was going to come down to Russ, I texted my dad and brother in a group chat and just said, the last guy we want this coming down to. Not because Russ wasn't playing great that day. I believe he had 8 birdies through 16. And not that Russ hasn't improved his dog a little bit over the last year, but doesn't really count because he beat Colin. Hard to say at this point.
Colin gave that to him.
When I realized that it was Lowry against Henley, even though Russ was 1 up going to 17, we knew it was going to happen. 2 putts short, makeable. Lowry with the magic of Ireland. I want to talk about Lowry too, because as we've talked about over the summer, he was muralized. We saw it with our own eyes at Royal Ports. He then lost his mind.
Shit on
the course at Royal Ports. This, though, he's muralized forever across Ireland, not just outside of Portrush now.
The Lowry up and down this year has been quite something. He's had his moments, and I think as he's just becoming more like comfortable in the public eye, like I don't care, I'm just doing whatever the hell I want now. And he did it again this past week. Like his celebration was something. I saw those videos of him on Twitter dancing with the jug.
Like this guy's crazy.
Yeah, I saw Lud on the bus too. Like the Lud was like, these Texas Tech parties were way better than this bus ride right now. Like he did not want to be there. But yeah, I mean, when it came down to Russ, like hit some good golf shots, leaving those 2 putts short was just so on brand for Russ. Like that shot out of the bunker was immaculate. I thought
unbelievable shot.
I thought he hit it fat. Like when I heard it, then I saw the replay of it clipping the wispy grass. I mean, unbelievable golf shot from Russ, but you can't give Shane a read. I don't know. It was just tough.
That was the thing. Leaving it short on Shane's line was worst case scenario. If you're going to miss, bash it 5 feet by, don't show him the break, like hit it too hard.
Yeah.
Leaving it dead center short, I was like, we're screwed. Even though Lowry's not that high of a dog player, he's going to make.
I mean,
this.
that was a.
But
easy
going back to the Victor Harris question, I'm very glad. I wanted the U.S. to win, but I'm very glad that that Europe ended up winning by enough that it wasn't decided
100%
on this, because that would have been a clear point of controversy. Your tweet was perfect. I almost tweeted something. I actually just texted my dad the exact same thing you tweeted. People didn't agree with that?
Yeah,
Tell people what you tweeted.
After the pod, or whenever, if you got a chance to look, it was one of the tweets that I tweeted that just like kept coming, kept doing numbers, and I was getting flamed by mainly Europeans. I will just read it verbatim, the tweet. Each team getting a half point because of Hovland's withdrawal makes literally no sense. Why don't 4 other Euros coincidentally wake up with a backache or something then?
Right, and quick time out.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Finish what you're going to say.
I know I didn't at the time. I didn't realize that this is only the case for the first withdrawal. Like if 4 other Euros would have withdrawn, it would have been losses for them. But with that being said, it's still a half point when we needed wins nonetheless. If X player withdraws from a match before, why is it a tie? There's no rationale or way to believe that is the right thing outside of, like, I guess, a gentleman's sport. But people thought I was upset about like this. I was just saying this makes no sense. And everyone was like, cry more, you American, cry more, stuff like that. I was like, this makes no sense.
Those people don't know how much DP you watch.
No.
So, but like, I agree. And I didn't know as well at first that not everybody could withdraw, because then I was like, anytime you have the lead going into Sunday by more than 6, if all you need is 6 points or less to win, everybody should withdraw every time. Automatic victory.
Every time.
Easy win.
Auto win.
Because at the end of the day, sportsmanship out the door. Winning is what matters. So if you had to pull everybody out, so be it. But
And people were also like 91, like that happened in the US with someone. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I was not born in 91. Second of all, still a dumb rule. I don't care which way this happened. Like if USA was, this is a stupid rule. This needs to be changed.
Yeah.
I don't care what side it is. They were like, you wouldn't be complaining if it was the other way around. I'm like, yeah, I would be. I'm not being ignorant. I'm being
you're
non-biased.
You're a logic student at the same time too. Like you're trying to apply logic to the scenario, and it makes no sense. If one person can't play and the other person, they should have to tee off. Like if Harris just tees off of one and like puts it in the hole on one, then he wins.
Daniel Berger at TPC Southwind. That's
exactly
all it is.
Tee off, put it out the first hole. You're now 1 up, and you can walk off the course at that point as a winner
with the win.
And I get like, that people were saying like, oh, it protects both sides, but like,
from what?
If a guy's hurt, he can't play. Like,
what do you mean? Yeah.
What did you think about the concept of having a standby player, a live situation where you've got somebody waiting in the wings?
Anything is better than that. 100%. You can't just have an auto like draw.
No, especially. I mean, I think when I first saw it, I was like, okay, luckily this is a blowout, so there's not going to be any debate about this. But
yeah, then it got down to it.
And then if you add in, I guess the other way to look at it would be like, if that point was in play, it would have looked closer on the scoreboard. Could that have impacted the Europe in a way? Maybe. I will say, I think even if Vic had played with a broken neck, he would have beaten Harris English. I can't say that for certain, but I had fear.
I'm not arguing that point either. Yeah, like that is totally fair, but it's still a point that could have been won. Yeah. Like our Scotty Scheffler, also no one was going to go 1-4 or whatever he went. So anything could have happened.
Yeah, and I want to go through some players here and have some discussion.
Yeah, let's do some players.
I was just remembering that I was going to say too, and it ties into the hat that I'm wearing. And if you're listening on the pod, this is a Seattle Mariners hat, the number 2 seed in the American League, the American League West champion. Seattle Mariners for the first time since 2001, the first time that I can remember in my lifetime of
Do they have a World Series?
They've never been to the World Series. They're the worst.
Oh,
they've never even been. Oh. And I bring this up in this context because long ago, I'll say about 8 years ago, because I used to be a diehard Mariners fan. My dad, in I believe 1977, went to the first ever Mariners game at the Kingdom. The Mariners rooted, right? Yeah. To the core.
Yeah.
But the Mariners have been the worst team in sports for up until the last few years. They had the longest, for people who don't know, they had the longest stretch about not making the playoffs of any team in major American sports.
Impressive.
Sport, the worst team of just even making the playoffs, letting us have a moment of fun. And a lot of times, the leaders of the team, the ownership, the management, clearly didn't care. They didn't care if the team was good or bad. And so I had to decide, I can't care more about the Mariners than the people who actually control what's happening in the game do. If I care more than them, I'm setting myself up for sadness. Guaranteed. Can't argue
that.
So like 8 years ago, I had to look myself in the mirror as a man and say, you can't care that much. You can only care as much as like you're seeing care being given by the team. And I think that's a great lesson in a lot of aspects of life. Control what you can control. I've felt that way. And so now with the hat on, well, this is the best one ever because I'm coming from low expectations. And this is now, I can't believe it's actually happening. I'm as excited. I wouldn't say hopeful, but just having this moment is truly been 24 years in the making.
Yeah. Playoff baseball feels good. It feels really good.
It's both a good and sickening feeling at the same time.
Yeah.
But I say this because after Italy, about midway through Italy, when I saw what was taking place and I saw some of the decisions that Team USA was making, or even before some of the player selections, I said to myself, you can't care more than the people making the decisions care. And that's why at the end of the day, I wasn't that upset this week because like once I saw the course setup, I was like, if Keegan and the leadership of the whoever's in charge of Team USA, I think the players care. I think Keegan cares, wants to
Mhm.
win. I think the players tried as hard as they could to win every single match. I think Keegan tried as hard as he could to coach the team to win. But the people in charge clearly don't care enough to optimize the situation. They care more about something else, and the Europeans clearly care about winning. And so why I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to care that
No,
much. I can't.
you can't put yourself in that spot. No, I 100% agree. Yeah, I think that was a great segue, but I feel like you should be feeling excited though. Are you not feeling excited for these next
Oh, I
few
mean,
weeks or week and a half?
the Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have never in my life, and goes back to the last point I was making, like every time we've ever signed a player to a long contract, they're terrible for years on end after they sign the contract. They'll have like their greatest season ever, and then the next season they'll have their worst season ever, and it'll continue on forever, and they suck. Cal Raleigh signing a new contract with the Mariners instead of going to like the Yankees or the Dodgers, any team who could pay him infinity money, basically, and
He's the
signing.
best catcher for a while, right?
Yeah, he's been really good the last few seasons, and he was hitting in like the 30s of homers, high 30s. To this year, hit 60, and so then he signed a new contract in the
That's
offseason
insane.
to hit 60 home runs. For that to happen to a Mariners player, and then that's obviously a huge impact on the success of the team. And the rest of this is also just the best roster the Mariners have ever had in my adult life. I'm can't believe that all of these things have come together. So it's already beyond my imagination of like what has been historically possible. So I am extremely excited, but I just also can't get that excited because it's still the Mariners. And yes, we are now one step further along than we have been in my lifetime, but we still have never made the World Series. We're still going to have to beat the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Dodgers or the Blue Jays. I think we can beat the Blue Jays. I'm not afraid of the Jays, but the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
well, you got
excited,
the
but I'm not overly
potential
optimistic.
best player in baseball. Like he's fighting for the AL MVP, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think he's the favorite now, and he should be like switch hitting
I mean, that's
catcher.
a historic catching season. Yeah, 60 home runs as a catcher. I mean, I don't really know much baseball, but I know that's insane. That's like
And he's like
a
one of
joke
the
season.
best defensive catchers in the league too. And he throws out like the most base runners. He's
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievable. He
that's
deserves
electric.
to win.
It's electric.
And at the end of the day, the Mariners haven't won the West since 2001, and we won the West. So it's like
That's already a win.
value MVP. Obviously, I think it should be
Right.
Raleigh. But yeah, so Mariners week. It's possible they could face the Yankees in the ALCS, and
And you would be there for sure.
I will enter enemy territory. I'll basically be Rory at the Ryder Cup.
I don't know if you want to be worried at the Ryder Cup. He was getting some crazy things said on him. Shout out. I don't know. We want to talk about the fans because there was some
I
questionable
want to
stuff
talk
going
about
on.
Rory and I guess the fans together. I want to
Yeah,
start with
and then
Rory.
we got to go back to Scotty too.
I mean, yeah, I think we have to. There's a variety of players that we need to talk to. We may not talk about the Sanderson. We'll give out 1 minute of Sanderson at the very end.
Well, yeah. Just look at the thumbnail.
Yeah, the answer's on the thumbnail. The
Yeah.
answer's on the thumbnail. I have been, and we've talked about this a lot on the pod, and I love how often things that we talk about on the pod that only this tiny portion of pod listeners know about. And shout out to the pod listeners. Shout out to the supporters. We can't have these stories and talk about all this stuff for years on end without your support, and we really appreciate it. We couldn't do this without you. If you would like to toss a like and subscribe, a 5-star review, we obviously appreciate that. But over the course of the year, listeners will know we've talked about Rory a lot. Over the years, I've talked about not necessarily being a Rory guy, and that I used to be a Rory guy, and then I became so like upset by what he had become that it was hard for me to be a Rory guy again. But then once he won the Masters and we went to Hollywood Golf Club and I got to experience the land of Rory, I was back in, almost fully in on being a Rory guy. He won the Irish Open. He only cares about
So
winning
sick.
at good golf courses and winning the away Ryder Cup. He told you what he's going to do. I was in on Rory.
Yeah.
And now after this was one of the most dog performances. He's become over this last year an entirely different person. In this new version of Rory, he was already a legend. He's taken it up. I don't even know how many degrees this year. And this week was just like the final nail in the throne of being an absolute legend.
I mean, the moment when he told the fan to shut up and then just put it to 4 feet from the rough.
That was so sick.
The rough doesn't matter. It could have been from the middle of the fairway. He told the fan to shut up and he said, "Watch this," and put it inside. I believe it was maybe Scotty or someone who hit a great shot before him and ended up winning the match. Like that was just unreal stuff from Rory. It was truly unreal stuff. Like so much dog. He was there, played 5 matches. I believe he had 3.5 points. Took Scotty to they went 18 holes, and like the dog that he's it was amazing. It was amazing.
What a year. Before the Grand Slam.
Cap the Grand Slam.
Pebble.
Cool course.
Players.
Cool course.
Masters, Grand Slam. Don't know if you've heard about it.
And he won the Players without hitting any fairways. Impressive stuff.
Yep. Turned into a positional merchant overnight. Irish Open. Played competitively. Was in the mix at Ports. He was there.
Port Rush.
He was going to the weekend. He was there.
Yeah.
And then to win away Ryder Cup, and not just win away Ryder Cup as being like truly attacked at like a different degree than
getting things thrown at you and your wife walking off the course.
And like to play both good golf and like he never really talked that much shit about the crowd afterwards. Like he said some things about like how he doesn't think it should be this way, but he wasn't whining. He was like, we won, deal with it. He handled adversity with just dog. He didn't do anything else.
He's so confident. This is how old is Rory? What, like 33 maybe? Or somewhere around there? However old Rory is 36. Right now, this is the 36. Most he is probably just as confident as he was when he was like that 21-year-old. I can finally go to bars. I'm winning every golf tournament. Like he's having a second coming of confidence and like, I don't care what people think of me. Like I'm not going to repeat obviously what was said on the golf course, but someone said something derogatory to him and he said, "You know what? Right back at you." So like he doesn't care. He'll give it back to anyone. He'll take whatever he knows he's going to get shit said at him, but he's not like whining like Rory has in the past. And he's just being the most confident version of himself. And it's good to see. Fun to see. Very fun to see.
I agree. I think I totally agree. He's the most confident he's ever been. I think, and this is always where we're just spitballing because going in somebody's brain is not possible. But I do think when he gave up on being the lead of the Live situation, when he was the face of the tour fighting Live, and then he missed the cut at the Masters and didn't play the RBC, and like everybody was all over him, and he was trying to talk shit about Liv all the time. But then at some point soon after that, he stopped talking shit about Liv and he stopped wanting to be the face of the tour. And he was like, "Fuck you guys. You take care of it yourself. I don't care. I don't need this. I'm one of the best golfers of all time. I don't care."
Yeah.
And I think that was like the undercurrent, that turned him into what we see now. And I think now going forward, like he's told us what he's going to do. He's gonna try to win at cool golf courses. We'll
talk about that in the future. Like cool golf courses on this schedule. Is it cool? It's a simple flow chart. We have flow charts for a lot of players now, and the Rory flow chart might be as simple as it gets. There might be debate on is this golf course cool or not, but that's something that we'll have to decipher in the future.
100%. It's once it's determined if it's a cool course or not, the yes or no speaks for itself. It's merely a categorization like question on the quality of the course.
Yes.
But
and not difficulty or anything. Coolness only. It could be minus 40 or it could be plus 40. Vibes and coolness.
Yes, the score does not matter. The type of course does not matter. Is it a cool course to Rory?
Yeah.
And the other thing that goes back to the original conversation around the course setup is how excited do you think Rory was when he showed up and saw how the course was set up? He had to have been so happy. Imagine if Rory had showed up and the rough was like 6 inches deep on each side of the fairway and they'd cut the fairways in half. He would have been like, how am I going to, I'm fucked. It's over for me. But one who would have liked that? Russell Henley, Scotty Scheffler, JJ Spawn.
Yes.
Harris English, Colin Morikawa.
And you know what's crazy? There's not many weeks where you get clips of Rory on the range carrying 380, but he knew. I'm just going to send all week. and I'm gonna win matches because no one can do this. I can. I'm Rory McIlroy. I saw the clip of him and Victor. He like carried 1-3. He looked at Victor like, "Let's see you do this." Victor's like, "I'm just gonna put my club down. Like, why I can't do this." It
Victor's
was
like, I got a
built for
neck
Rory
injury.
McIlroy.
Like, I can't
Victor,
swing right now.
and like we know Rory McIlroy, all of his success in birdie fest, he doesn't win in single digits. Bethpage could easily be a single digit golf course, which the Americans would have thrived in. And he
Wanna know
sees
who
this
else is
minus
a
20
birdie
Bethpage.
fest merchant? Nuke off the tee
John
and then
Rahm.
yeah.
I know. I've heard of him.
Yeah.
It's
So,
quite upsetting.
yeah, that wasn't the point I wanted to make about Rory, but it's just like to come full circle.
TPC Tommy.
And so to the crowd, I think like obviously it goes without saying, it sounded like people were being idiots of the highest possible degree. I don't even know if we need to say anything. Like obviously unacceptable. Do you have a different take about the crowd than the obvious one?
No, I think that's perfect. But we know from being out there, sometimes golf fans aren't the most knowledgeable, and all they can recite to is like, "F you."
That's a good
You
point.
got.
That's a good point I'm glad you said that. I'm glad that we did have a small take on the situation. When you go to an event, people shout more stupid stuff by a huge margin than I think the average person would think. Not to say that that makes it okay or that what this happened was okay. I'm just saying that like I clearly what was being said was more outside the bounds of normal, but there's really dumb stuff yelled at players at every tournament that never gets picked up by the TV mics, and these guys just never react ever. They just for the most
No.
part just keep going.
Like no one's as least knowledge of the sport that they're at than fans at golf events.
Wow.
And there's further reasons for that. It's like marketing and advertising, and just viewership. But NFL fans aren't that dumb about NFL. MLB fans aren't that dumb about MLB. PGA fans, golf fans at events are very unknowledged about the current event that they're at. And we've seen it all year round, but when we go across the pond, it's a big difference. Those guys know what they're talking about. They know who's on the tee. They know the finished players in the field. That doesn't happen in America. That does not. So there's a bigger problem than just saying F you to the golfer on tee number 2. Because that's all they know.
Yeah, and I think like I'm not a New Yorker by birth by any means, but I'm a big fan of New York. I'm obviously biased. I think that like yes, it was extra bad, I guess, because it was Bethpage in New York, but I think this tournament could be held almost anywhere. And with already how much dumb stuff gets yelled at golf tournaments, and then you add in the like competition of versus Europe and versus Rory, I think it would have been pretty bad everywhere. So if anything, I will take New York off the hook a tiny bit. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean it's okay that this should happen somewhere else. I just think that there was also a lot of talk about like this is the New York sports fan, like you can't have an event in New York going forward. I think it's more of your point than the specific of where we hosted the tournament this year. And I do think there was a lot of debate about like, oh, well, what's it like across the P? I've never been to a Ryder Cup in the US or in Europe, but I've been to PGA Tour tournaments and majors in both. And what you're saying is 100% true. And I just have a hard time believing that it's to this degree. It's not easy. There's shit talking. There was the hat thing with
Right.
Pat. Like the fans go above and beyond.
I mean, the
But
Brian
like,
Harmon thing, like that's normal to get on someone's, but like the digging and like the personal stuff, like there's no place for that. It just makes no sense. And all they know is this. That's all they know. And like all they know is that and yell outlandish stuff after a guy hits a tee shot, which is still the dumbest thing in like golf. It's just stupid and not funny ever once. So
I will say, I think one thing to caveat your point with to also make clear is you're talking about a tiny portion of the people who go to events and are the people who are yelling things out. Like
yeah,
it's not just that you're going there. You don't anybody like ever the more people who love golf, the better. Obviously, as many people as possible should go to a PGA Tour tournament. You're talking about somebody who's going to go there and go out of their way to yell something at a player, which is a small
yeah,
group of people, but those group of people here are more likely to yell something just outlandish and then you see at other sporting events or in other sports. That's the point that you're
100%. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm trying to say.
okay. More players to talk about.
Scotty?
Scotty. You kick off your opinion
Yeah, I
on
have a
Scotty.
Scotty pick. I believe that Scotty Scheffler is the world beater and the amazing golfer that he is because of his patience and just ability to stay on track and not deal with anything and just little by little, slight digging over 72 holes. That's not really the way you win match play events. Maybe in singles you can get done with it, but when you're relying on another partner, when you have another 4 ball in your circle, that's not going to get it done. Scotty is a patient middle of the green, hit it to 15 feet, make one out of every X amount of putts. And that's why I don't believe he has the best Ryder Cup record, President's Cup record, as maybe we think he should. So that's my Scotty take. And I'm not slighting him for it.
Yeah. I think there's a few angles on that take, but they all kind of come back to the same point that Scotty, the type of golfer that he is versus, say, a Bryson, is designed around being inside of his own little world. And I almost tweeted, but I feel like most people who don't watch closely on a weekly basis wouldn't get it. Like, Scotty's best when he's put his head down, he's looking at his shoes. Scotty's version of the Tiger fist pump is Scotty looking at his shoes. When Scotty
100%.
starts walking down the fairways and looking at his shoes, it's over. Pack your bags. It's done. It's like when Djokovic is bouncing the ball before his serve like 47 times and the opponent's just standing on the other side. Like, when the fuck is this guy going to serve it? But he's going to serve it whenever he's ready to serve it. When Djokovic bounces the ball a lot, it's always been over for the opponent. When Scotty looks down at his shoes, pack your bags. At Procore, with like 4 holes to go, I was rooting for Vincent and BG, but Scotty was looking at his shoes, and I was like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's
It
over.
really doesn't matter.
Every shot that he hits in the team competition, he has to talk to the other teammate. He can't instantly look at his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Scotty.
Got to rely on a little bit more too. Yeah, no, I think they're both in the same vein. Yeah. So I'm not faulting Scotty at all. He's not a professional Ryder Cupper. He's a professional golfer.
So I will say 2 things. One, again, I think some of this was in some ways predictable. Like, I wrote up as well that I think Rory was more likely to be like top dog for his team and like live up to the moment than Scotty was. Not because Scotty's a bad golfer I think I wrote, I will never write a bad word about Scotty on the Vince Eric's website. I refuse. No. I would never do such a thing.
He did mint fairways though. Would have been great if the rough was high.
And Bryson driving it dead down the center, 380 would have helped with the rough being high too. But it's just, with that being said, and I obviously agree with it isn't the right format for Scotty. When you're Scotty, you got to get more than no points over the first 4 matches. I don't care about all the things that we just said. What was he doing? Some of the swings he made, the finishes.
He also played horrible.
I've never seen anything like it before. So that was like, a part of me was like, yes, did I think he was going to play great? No, I genuinely didn't think he was going to play great. There was no evidence to point to Scotty going to play great in these conditions. Dog. What? Yeah. That wedge he hit on 18, that was the worst shot he's ever hit. And there was multiple times through the week where like we watched so much Scotty. His swing didn't even look like Scotty. He was like not confident. I've never seen anything like it. That was frustrating.
That wedge shot, I was driving. Kohler was in the back seat watching it on his phone, and I was like, "Update me." I thought he was like joking and like lying to me. Yeah, he put in the bunker. I was like, "Dude, you said he was 100 yards in the fairway. He didn't put in the bunker." I thought like the stream had messed up. I made him I really thought he was lying or being wrong, and then quite literally, Scotty put in the bunker from 108 yards or whatever it was. When's the last time we did that? I don't know.
No. He had probably, because so many of the shots they would cut to Scotty, and there he was from 170 with his iron in his hand, and you're like, we're about to see something sweet, because how many times have we watched Scotty do stuff that's sick? Every week.
A lot of times.
All the time. And he never did. Like, maybe twice he hit a couple good shots, but like, no. Also, I want somebody go ask Scotty how he felt about the greens. He had to be like, the ball was, so all that to be said, I wasn't surprised Scotty didn't play that great, but you got to get more than no points, especially when he only end up losing by 1 point, basically. 1 point, one match goes the other way.
If Scotty goes like 2-2, it's a different story.
If Scotty
massively.
Yeah, so that was.
It's tough. Yeah, it is. It's
But
unfortunate.
it's just crazy too because he clearly it's. I think Tiger to some degree didn't give a shit about the Ryder Cup, and that's why he like didn't ever play that good. Scotty clearly cares. I mean, he's cried after
He
Italy.
cried, yeah.
He cried
Cried again
this
this week.
year, but he can't do it. But he can do everything else in golf. It's
Weird.
very weird.
It's very weird. And we won't find out again. I mean, I'm not even going to count the President's Cup. Like, we'll find out again in 2 years.
And that's why I think too, it's like I can't say for certain that it will be better next time for Scotty. I think he thought it would be better for him this time. There's clearly something amiss with Scotty at the Ryder Cup because what we saw was like in the scale of likelihood outcomes of Scotty, it was as bad as I could possibly ever have imagined. He couldn't hit the ball. It wasn't just the results of the matches. It was like what was happening while he was playing. I was like, I've never seen anything like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He finally figured out how to putt over the last couple of days too. But it also didn't. Yeah, there's so many things we could say. Couple more guys.
JJ played nice.
JJ played nice.
Happy with the way JJ played.
Who was okay? Yeah. So he was your American MVP or was it CY? What's your CY?
Oh, CY. No, CY without a doubt. That's a given. I just thought JJ played better than I thought. JJ played nice. Showed Cam Young played tremendously. I also heard a thing about how like rookies have done well over Wyden, and like he was like, no rookies are playing in the match one. Cam Young is on a heater right now. Cam Young is minting top 10s. Cam Young is the best putter in the world right now. And then he proved to continue that. Whatever, lost cause, where we can't go back and change that now.
But
he was unbelievable, yeah.
Yes, I mean, CY, you famously in the San Francisco hotel explained to the world why you were blacklisting CY. And then you unblacklisted him, hit him at Wyndham, and now he was the American MVP of the Ryder Cup. And people on Twitter, I did a poll of who's more likely to win a major first in their career between Ludd and CY. It's basically a tie. People don't know who to choose between Ludd and CY. I think a year ago that would have been 90% Ludd. You're a CY guy. What's the state of the union? We've seen guys, Scotty, for example, Bob Mack, I think would be an example, who had a good break. He didn't win a major, but he had a good breakout season and almost won the US Open after playing good in the Ryder Cup 2 years ago. What's next for CY after this, and does it involve TGL?
I was going to say he's going to cause absolute issues on that TGL screen in just a few months. Opening match, New York versus Atlanta. I think it's December 28th, ESPN.
Billy was
definitely be there.
Sharp. Did you see Billy?
Oh, yeah, ready to celebrate with either team. Great tweet. Yeah, Cam Young. The Ryder Cup builds dog, and the Ryder Cup builds character. We see it every 2 years. Like someone bursts out of the Ryder Cup and does something tremendous. And Cam Young's always had the sky as the limit with his skill set. This only adds to that. I mean, I've always been a Cam Young truther, whether that's for good or for bad. I'll tell you how it is with Cam Young. And what's there bad to say? Like, he's playing unbelievable. He's talking more. The flow's looking great. He's lost some weight this past year. Cam Young's living life. The streets of New York are buzzing. He looks like he cares again. He cares about golf again.
That's what I was going to say. I think you nailed it a few months ago when he switched to the new caddy, and you talked about how you've been like, the first place we saw that was at the Truist.
Yes.
Remember?
Sure.
We said it's not this week, but he looks happier.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing. One who's not a happy golfer, Colin. No. Terrible at golf.
Not happy golf.
A couple of European guys. Small Vic lap. Even after Tommy screwed me over at the Travelers, I had been saying Tommy's going to fuck at the Ryder Cup.
Oh yeah, you knew that was happening.
And why is he? Is he the greatest golfer of all time? Like I have a personal beef with what Tommy did to me at the Travelers. You have a personal beef with what he did to you at Edgefield or at the FedEx. I have a personal beef for what he did to me at the Canadian Open. When Tommy's flushing, he's the greatest golfer of all time.
Yeah.
It's so straight every time.
It's so straight. And like, it's just, I don't know why no one else chokes down in the club and just really focuses on that compression. Because everyone says, I mean, it's on t-shirts all over. No one compresses the ball like Tommy. And it's true. It's just absolutely smushed. It's compressed
It
like no
if the
other.
if there was like a skills competition where they put like a bucket at certain yardages and you had to hit it in the bucket, Tommy should be minus 800. It wouldn't even be close. He would win.
Scotty would be close.
Scotty would be second, but Tommy would still win. If you
Or
combine,
they had a gauge on the ball of compression. Tommy would easily win that skills competition.
because if like Tommy didn't have to use the mini driver this week because it was only big driver situation with the setup.
Yeah.
But if
Oh,
Tommy
yeah.
had whipped out the mini, Tommy, he's so good.
Tommy's gonna cause problems at Adair Manor too.
We need the only hope of winning at Adair is Stu Hagestad as captain, and Nick Dunn learns to drive.
We'll talk to him about that.
Yeah. If we're not going to give away any things that aren't 100% set in stone, but if you remember the Walker Cup conversation and you remember a certain golfer's favorite drink question, we may have an answer. We may have an answer.
May have an answer.
We've been on this train for a long time. That when Justin Rose cares, he is as good as any other golfer.
True. He cares about the Ryder Cup.
What a performance. That Saturday match when he beat Scotty and Bryson single-handedly with Tommy. I mean, Tommy was still flushing, and to have Tommy like beside on your side gives you confidence, obviously. And their level of boys
it's happened to him before.
Their level of boys beyond what the American team could understand. It was unbelievable. Same thing at the final round of the Masters when he shot like whatever he shot and he made like 10 birdies and was making every putt. When Rose focuses on putting, he's the greatest clutch. Like nobody, when they decide they're going to make a putt, is more likely to make a putt in the non-Cam Smith division than Justin Rose.
And then on Nick Taylor division too. We have to,
Justin Rose is like a better version of Nick Taylor, basically.
Oh yeah. And it's aspirational stuff. It truly is. Like he a little fist pump and look to the camera, just a single one. He looks so sleek. He looks so good. That was just when BG banged that and he banged it in his face. Shout out BG.
Yeah.
Lag putting display, BG. BG lag putting display.
I didn't even in my diatribe against Keegan. How dare you bench BG? BG's you're the one guy you're gonna bench is gonna be BG, really? Bench Colin. Get one of these other losers off the course. I get that the first day BG didn't play great. That was a tough situation to be tossed into alongside Bryson in your first Ryder Cup match. He's a good putter. It was a putting competition. Even though that was disgusting. How dare he treat BG like that?
And once you realize what it is, like put BG in, because it was quite obvious after 17 minutes on the course that these guys are making a little bit more putts than we are, and it seems like everyone's putting from the same distance. So, yeah,
BG Scotty best ball wins
every time.
Because BG wouldn't have fucked with Scotty. If Scotty told BG, don't talk to me the entire day and we'll celebrate when we're done, BG wouldn't care. He'd be like, dope, let's win.
No. Dope, let's win. Let's do it. Pride and country.
Bob Mack, absolute stoic. When Bob Mack was the final match against Burns and it was possible that it was gonna come down to Bob Mack, I had a good feeling for Europe because Bob Mack,
he's tough to deal with. I feel like I'm always on the wrong side of Bob Mack, and he is tough to deal with for sure.
We were on him in Phoenix.
He almost did it.
I think we get another serious mix from Bob Mack at a major next year. I don't know which one.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, Pars will be good at Shinny, so.
Tough go for Rasmus.
We got the Shinny US Open flag in the mix now, by the way, so it's something to add to it.
It's a similar logo to Billy Cricket.
Billy Crick, yeah. So, without, oh yeah, I was gonna say my most disappointing golfer was Rasmus. He didn't look comfortable out there. Like he didn't look like he vibed with the team. Like Nikolai looked a lot better 2 years ago, like in terms of vibes with the team. So a little bit disappointing from Rasmus. I will say I was higher on him going into it than I will, which is like I guess why I'm potentially I'm kind of fading him this week. I think he's gonna rebound well, but he still won and still celebrated with the team. And I don't want to too much of like a hangover, and he's a volatile guy. I'm out on Rasmus this week.
Shout out Xander, another high dog player. He's high in the dog rankings for a reason. Xander cold, kind of off the bench, didn't go to the pro core, had a kid. Shout out having a kid.
Shout out Victor
And
Hovland.
yep. And but talk about another guy who, if there's going to be no penalty for where you hit the ball off the tee and you can just hit your irons, Xander's going to be excited about
this past year's Xander too, 100%,
Yeah.
and that really showed.
What is your take on who wins a major first between Ludd and CY? I know they're both your guys to some degree.
That's a really good question now. It really is. I've been in the Ludd camp. I'll stay in the Ludd camp. I think he's a stallion and things are coming. I'll stay riding Ludd. I don't want to switch up on that.
I will go with CY.
CY? Okay.
I think CY recently has developed dog, and I'm not sure to what degree. I don't know if it's a little bit or a lot. I think it's too soon to make an official stance, but I don't think Ludd cares enough about having the dog. And he still has Skovron on the bag. And until Skovron's off the bag, you know how I feel about the Ludwig situation. So for that reason, CY.
I kind of agree that he just doesn't care enough. We'll see. We have a whole off season. I wonder what he's going to be doing, how many events he's going to be playing. I'm surprised at how many people are playing the Dunhill Links. Like, I'm surprised Fitz is playing. I mean, Fitz. I'm gonna bet Fitz this week.
The DP guys love the Dunhill Links. But yeah, what a Ryder Cup. At the end of the day, there's always numerous takes. We made it an hour and 1 minute, and I think we'd easily do another hour. But these takes are worth remembering because, as we've said, sometimes guys going into the next year build some confidence. There's always a dog evaluation after the Ryder Cup, but we got some work to do. We've got to teach Nick Dunn how to drive. We've got to see if Stu's available. He's got a busy schedule. He's playing the Mid-Am Tour and working. Being captain's going to take a bunch of his time, so we need to tell him sooner rather than later. Ken Jackson Koiven. Who are guys for the American team outside of Nick Dunn learning to drive that you need to see step their game ups? Not of guys that weren't currently on the team this year.
Guys that weren't currently on the team?
Like guys who didn't play this year who could play in 2 years, but they're capable, but they need to do something with their game to take it to the next level.
I mean, Akshay, the American Batia, he's on the team next year or 2 years. Especially at that course. I think he is a big potential week for him here. Like, step up at this as the favorite of the Sandy. Like, you don't have to win, but play some. Don't disappoint because you're young. And then all these young guns like the Thorbs, the Clantons, the Koivens. Like, one of them will. I would say 2 of those guys will probably be on the team.
Pat had a lot of chances, didn't convert him.
He didn't convert him. Sunday was tough. Like, Ludd played fine, but Pat did nothing. Pat just did nothing.
The putter's just been betraying Pat all season. And he's at the end of what I was thinking of was this ended up being a Bentoff, a Poa Bentoff.
Yeah.
And we weren't ready for it.
BJ.
Other question that I was going to ask you, we might have I forgot what I was going to ask you situation. I'm looking at the name of players to see if that jolts in my brain the question that I was going to ask, but I don't think it does. Okay. I'll probably remember at some point.
Tomorrow.
Next pod. We'll have it for next pod too.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. I remember. I just had to I had to do the switch in my brain of what I was about to tell you about last time, and now I do. The big change this year, apparently this was Scotty's idea, was that everybody was going to go to the Pro Core. Now, it makes sense why it was Scotty's idea. He wanted to win again and hang out and drink wine. So good call by Scotty. Would it have been more effective if instead of going to the Pro Core, the team was threatened with having to play the Sandy Farms if they lost?
Definitely threatened. Definitely threatened, without a doubt. That's an easy answer, without a doubt. If they lose, they're all playing the Sandy Farms.
That's what we should
100%.
do. That's all
Yeah,
Keegan
just
had to
written.
say was, "Hey guys, I got you a motel in Jackson. If you lose, see you there."
Figure it out.
And if
The
you
door
miss the
might lock. It might
yeah,
not.
and if you miss the cut, you're gonna have to play the next event. You have to make a fall cut starting at the
Yeah.
Sandy, or else bad things happen to you.
Real bad things. No, I agree.
I have an interesting stat for you from the Sandy Farms. If there's the skip ahead people who don't care about a Ryder Cup takes, they want some Sandy Farms takes.
Here we go. Here we
Here
go.
you go. I've got some stats for you.
Let's do it.
I have some of the craziest course overlap stats.
This is. I know this is gonna pan out too.
2 courses for you. One makes sense, one doesn't make sense at first, but then it makes sense when I explain it to you. First one is the Dunes Club, Myrtle Beach. The second one is TPC Toronto from this year's Canadian Open. Now you may be saying to yourself, didn't Ryan Fox win both of those events? Yes, he did. But the thing about the Bermuda kind of, they're similar, firm and fast at times vibes of the Dunes Club course and the Sandy. Like if you thought about those courses, you could start to piece together why that makes sense. Wouldn't it make as much sense at TPC Toronto? But then you look at the stats, very similar distance biases and a lot of wedges and make birdies. So it like plays into a similar strengths. Here's the numbers. This is the leaderboard from this year's Myrtle Beach Classic. I haven't listed every player. I've listed 7 players inside T7 or better. There was a handful of other players in that. I think there was 10 guys in the top T7 or better. Here's where they finished at the Myrtle Beach Classic and their best finish historically at the Sandy Farms. Fox T11, Hughes so Fox won T11 at Sandy. Hughes T2 lost in the playoff, won Sandy. Yu was 4th, won Sandy last year. Smalley was tied for 5th. He's been tied for 5th at the Sandy. Hubbard was T7. He's been T5 at the Sandy. Hayden Buck was T7. He's been T4 at the Sandy. Matty Schmid was T7. He's been T16 at the Myrtle Beach Classic. Then we go back to 2024 results in Myrtle Beach. Hostler was T4. He's 2nd at the Sandy Farms, almost won. Fox again, T4, T11. T4, won. So he's been back-to-back T4s at Myrtle Beach and won the Sandy. Chesson Hadley was T10 in Myrtle Beach. He's been 2nd at the Sandy. Patton Kazire was T10 in Myrtle Beach. He's been T4 at the Sandy. So we're seeing a lot of Sandy, and that's only 2 years of Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually crazy.
And then we go to Toronto, and Toronto becomes even crazier. This is finished this year at the Canadian Open, and then best finish at the Sanderson. Fox, obviously, T11. Sam Burns 2nd. He's won the Sandy. Yu 3rd. He's won the Sandy. Cam Young T4. He's been T2 at the Sandy. Ben On T6. He's been 3rd at the Sandy. Cam Champ T9 in Canada. He's won the Sandy. David Skins was T9. He finished T37 at the Sandy, but he shot 60 in the first round last year. Nick Taylor was T13. He's won the Sandy. There's Smalley again, and Ludd was T13. He's been T2 at the Sandy. So of the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 guys finished T13 or better in Toronto, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them have a T5 or better at the Sandy, and 4 of them have won.
That is incredible crossover.
We've never seen anything like.
No, that is crossover you're not going to get anywhere else. That is, you need to put that in writing on the site or wherever we're getting this up for this week.
You wouldn't think this is already on the site. This is already up there. This is already up.
Right. Yeah, that's aspirational stuff.
And I think that's fair because, like, I don't usually think there's honestly a clear bias of like a type of player for Sandy. Kind of anyone who's playing good could play good at Sandy. I think if you hit it far and make a lot of putts, you can definitely play good at the Sandy. But this to me just jumped out like, why wouldn't I just look at the leaderboards in Myrtle Beach and in Canada and then bet like a handful of long shot guys who fit that?
Don't overthink it. Truly. Don't overthink it.
With that said, who do you like at the Sandy? Who do you got guys?
Tried and true Bermuda man Jacob Bridgman. Eastlake made it this year. Decent ball striking season after not being a great ball striker, but you get him on the Bermuda, anything could happen. I like where the confidence is at after that finish to the last FedEx Cup season. So I'll ride Bridgman. I'll ride Bridgman in the fall more than once too.
We also have another vibe space thing to keep in mind here that Bridgman would fit in is President's Cup snub and Ryder Cup snub. In 2024 was a President's Cup year. Kevin Yu won. President's Cup snub. 2023 was a Ryder Cup year. Luke List won. Ryder Cup snub. The year before that was a President's Cup year. Mackenzie Hughes won. President's Cup snub. The year before that, Sam Burns won. I don't think he was on the team. Ryder Cup snub. So, something to consider. Jacob Bridgman, Ryder Cup snub.
People are saying it because we knew it was a putting contest going in, so Bridgman probably should have been on that team. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for Bridgman.
How big of a snub was Denny McCarthy once you saw the conditions?
Oh my God, this was pure Denny season. Pure Denny season. He could have easily been on the team. A few guys could have easily been on the team.
That's my thing. If you're going to Europe cares more about winning than people's feelings. If we were going to set up the course that way, then go put the fucking putters on the team and just hope they make the putts. Like Sam Burns would.
I mean, this is a perfect Goddard course snub. Goddard would have been amazing this week. Amazing. Northeast putter too. Easily.
Yeah, just go sort by Northeast putting and take the first 12 Americans.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great golf course for Victor, by the way. And Sammy was hurt. Also on the Sandy vibes based thing, top 20s on Suber and Lasasso. I think one of them will come through. Both Ole Miss guys, high vibes, showed great things at times. Long numbers there. So top 20s on those guys.
Of the because what is Bridgman's odds? Oh, he's like
40, 35.
Who then? I mean, there's a lot of guys obviously ahead of him on the board. There's Akshay, Davey T, Minwoo, Mike T, Rasmus, Yu, Nikolai, Hoey, Posty, Smalley, Griot. Any of those guys catching your eye?
Davey T. Buy Davey T stock. This is like the fall. You bet the guys that you're high on. I don't believe Davey T is a chartman, even though the chart had a good year. I'm in on I think Davey T. I've been in the camp for saying he's a top 10 player. He will be a top 10 player in the world at some point in his career. He's just like those Ludwigs, he's a stallion. Like he's got gears that other guys don't have. So I'm in on seeing him for the first time. I believe it was at Torrey Pines for the Genesis. I was blown away with Davey T in the practice round. So I'm in on him.
The first time we talked about Davey T, I think was at Pinehurst because he looked like he looked the part at Pine.
It's just that does he care? That's the question.
And maybe
we're on Bermuda.
And the Ryder Cup just happened, and in Ryder Cup snub, he's going to be motivated. So I like it.
David T.
Which Hoj are you going with? You said
Nikolai.
Okay.
Nikolai. I think he wins this week. I think he beats Rasmus. He
should have won the Omega European Masters.
I have a pause. Do you see who is most tipped on the DP?
No.
It's hilarious.
I'll look.
Just look. It's
shout out.
It's the most simpleton. It's so good.
Shout out the tips checker. Doing tips in the fall got to be a grind. So shout out the tips checker for putting out the chart.
So good. Mixes one time in 12 years.
This is a good chart. Yeah. For the listeners, it's Joachim Lagergren. Go back and listen to the last pod for the Lagergren segment. We can't do it again. Wrighton on Instagram is so good. He's my favorite follow on Instagram. He was hyped about the Ryder Cup. All the DP guys were. The DP players on Instagram.
Except for
Jordan Smith.
Penge was pissed.
Penge was pissed. He was right there.
You texted Penge?
I texted you because I didn't get to watch that much of Friday morning, and then I was really honed in for the afternoon. And once I finally saw what the setup was, and I was like, my God, what has happened here? I texted you.
He would have feasted.
I texted you. It's the U.S. is lucky that Penge Wrighton isn't coming out next.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think Penge Wrighton in those conditions would have shot 18 under easily.
Yeah, that is a hilarious chart too. Also, shout out. I said the European fans know the Finns on the course. Lindell is on the chart, so shout out the two Finns that we played with at whatever course.
Potts is on there. Potts is playing St. Andrews. I'm on the record of buy all the stock you possibly can at Potts. Now I will say, because Sky, shout out Sky, great guy, excellent golf handicapper. I earlier in the year had said Potts, start buying your stock for Potts at St. Andrews for the Open in 2026, I think. And he's obviously a big Potts guy. He was on board. He last week, when he found out that Potts was playing, responded to my tweet and said he's in the field, which I was instantly excited about. I do want, and I think I have to ride with him. Let me see what his odds are, just because of like I can't make that declaration, and then even if it's only two of the 4 days. But I will say,
Carnoustie could be an issue.
Carnoustie and Kingsbarn, those could be issues. So I'm not like this. If he finishes last place, don't sell your stock at the Open. Basically, is what I'm saying.
I think we should ask like Bet Online, like name a bet, if we can get the biggest variance in score between the first St. Andrews round and the only Carnoustie round, because I think Aldridge will probably win that bet. I will say Friday looks really, really, really calm, and every single good player is playing Kingsbarn, which they take super low on the easy days every single year on that Friday. So like literally all the favorites are playing Kingsbarn on Friday. So I think they know they want the good players in the mix on Sunday. So I believe the favorites will be in the mix. That's your DP preview. All Kingsbarn Friday.
That's a perfect point, because Kingsbarn, we've talked about Kingsbarn on the pod before. That's in my magical. I've said it's better than St. Andrews. It is a wonderful place. It's a shame they don't cover it on TV more when they're showing the tournament, because a lot of the cameras are on St. Andrews. This tournament also just, sick.
Pure links. Pure links.
Like,
that's what I started my write-up with on this side. You'll see it. It says pure links.
They should do this quarterly. Have this event. You don't want to play Kingsbarn on a windy day in this tournament, because the other courses are less exposed to, they're exposed, but like it's a different degree out at Kingsbarn. Because as we know, when you're across the P, you could be on just one different side of how you're facing the water, even that be like 2 minutes away from your
there was spot. Nothing like that. You can't explain it unless you're there. You really can't.
But it's a real thing. And the way that this tournament sits, you don't want to you want to play St. Andrews on the windiest day, because you can get downwind on St. Andrews and hit 9-iron onto the green on half the holes, and then just birdie half of them and par a few of them, and like you're good. I think they set it up so that all the favorites play Saturday, Sunday at St. Andrews, and Saturday is supposed to be like 25-mile-an-hour winds. So
that makes sense.
I totally agree with you that there is going to be a wind bias, and it's going to benefit the best players, and it's going to be tough to beat them. And we've seen on the DP, Mike Kim came over. We haven't even talked about this. Mike Kim came over and won. The big names have won like all the tournaments in a row. Give Mike Kim a shout out.
Yeah, shout out Mike Kim. Like, and you have how many months can we allow him to tweet whatever he wants?
6.
6 months. I was going to say 6 months. Okay, fair. 6 months. You can tweet whatever you want on Twitter. Mike Kim, you just beat Brooks Koepka like down the stretch at the French Open. If it was at Le Golf, 12 months. With easily 12 months. Yes. But still, a win is a win. You made some insane putts. Great week for Mike Kim. Really impressive stuff.
But basically it's been top of the board merchants, because the bottom half of the DP this year, not great.
Yeah, not great. So I'm in on, I think, Fitzy this week. I know he cares so much. And Fitzy, a golf, going to places he cares about, we know makes sense. And this is definitely a place or an event that he cares about.
If his heart is connected to the situation. Also, Fitz's girl, and people didn't
home game
also factor in the home game for Fitz. I think that was under talked about. Something we should have done a pod just about the Fitz home game. She was all over my reels. I don't follow her, but I was just flipping through the reels. Matt Fitz girl was the star of the reels of the Ryder Cup, because all of the wives and the girlfriends it was in a reel contest basically. So beautiful. Shout out to Fitz for that as well. Home game. We didn't even talk about Fitz in the coverage of the Ryder Cup. He might have been the winner of the Ryder Cup, because he'd never gotten any points before. He'd been terrible in the Ryder Cup. Gets a home game, awesome. Wins. Jersey Shore wife wins on Instagram. Great week for Fitz, and that could easily carry the momentum to winning this week at the Dunhill. It all makes sense.
No, I totally agree. And like now that you experienced it, you know why Fitz married into the Jersey Shore. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. So shout out Fitz. The vibes are
But
high.
only in that one part of the Jersey Shore where the houses get really big and nice.
Yes, that's where he derives from. So it is I think the good vibes are gonna continue for Fitzy this week.
And it makes sense because that area has some like British on the water vibes to it. Those super nice houses.
Yeah.
Fits home game.
I'm with it. Fitz home game.
I'm trying to think about who I like at the Sandy. I don't really want to bet anyone from the top of the board. Shout out Smalley. Obviously, I still think Smalley was a bad beat last year. He storming back in the final round, almost won. Final round last year was sick. Keith Mitchell and Bo Hostler, gag off.
Yeah, Kevin, you out of nowhere. That was tough watch. Tough watch.
You brought up Sam Stevens. Like it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The guy could have won multiple times on tour this year. I tend to think he's a Bentsman.
We'll find out. You could be right because he hasn't really done it on Muta. It's a shame Bud Colley's not playing this week. But yeah, I agree with Sam Stevens. Could be a Bentsman.
He has the look and feel of a Bermuda man, but I think he's a Bentsman.
Well, he's from like Wichita, Kansas. So, and he went to and then he went to Oklahoma State. So
you can get both in those.
That checks out. Yeah, that checks out. We'll see.
What's State of the Union on Max? Because when I was doing research on last Ryder Cup, I forgot that Max was generational, and now he is. Imagine after the last Ryder Cup in Rome, where Max led the team in points and played generationally, that he would be.
He would have played well at this Ryder Cup.
Yeah, put him on the team.
Like
so many guys who are not good at golf could have actually been on the team in these conditions. That's the other thing. Like,
yeah, it was
P. Reed. Just make putts.
Oh my God, P. Reed, if he can keep it on the planet,
he wouldn't have needed to keep it.
He wouldn't have needed to. Yeah, he wouldn't have needed to. That's what I'm saying. That's what we always say for P. Reed, and like he would not have needed to this week. Yeah,
but
there were
40-1 Max at the Sanderson not being on the team. Who would have ever seen that coming? But I actually think you commented on Horvat's video. Were you being sarcastic? What's your stance on is Max flushing again?
Wait, what did I comment?
I don't remember, but I just know that I think Grant Horvat played with him, and you left a comment, and I was sarcastic, but I couldn't tell if it was a positive thing or a negative thing. So I'll just ask you now: do you think Max will flush this week, and is he flushing again? Because the stats would say that he is.
Because I remember before he almost won JDC, we talked him up highly. We were like, we need Max to just like keep it up a little bit, and we'll hop on him in the fall. Because I remember asking you, like, could he be a fall guy for us? And you were like, yeah, I think he could be. But then he popped. We thought his odds were going to get slashed. But 40 in this field, for sure.
I think I've got to be in on that.
Yeah, Matt, I'm in.
Max at I mean, he was T19 Pro Core. He's striping.
Yeah, like
it'll just be a matter
of Muta before.
Yeah, that'll be the only question is can he be a Muta man for the week? But he's going to be so hungry.
So hungry.
Potentially too hungry. That'd be my only concern.
Yeah, but at 40 I can do it in this field.
Ben on. These are Ben on conditions.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing terrible, but we know he doesn't like those other courses. He's told us himself he only likes these conditions.
Yeah, so I'm in there.
I think I know Bridgman is around 40 to 50, so you could either choose to be a down the boards guy or go towards more of the top. Or do you have a plan on that?
No, I don't have a plan yet. Definitely will probably be a high ROI card. Gonna be just try to hit one in the fall. And I'm not gonna. You can take shots though. Like I don't really care too much about the stats. Like we've had time off. Take your shots. A random guy could easily win. I'm gonna probably dial in maybe one guy from the top and maybe a few darts, but not a big card at all.
If we're gonna do random guys on the comp between Myrtle Beach and the Sandy, then give me Harry Higgs at 125-1. Lost in the playoff.
Yeah,
super random golfer. Like. That's what I think. I think it's a week for random golfers who at least you can come up with some reason why they could play good. We have to finish with the Europeans have won the Ryder Cup. We do random Euro of the week. it's the Sandy Farms. To honor the Europeans, we will sign off the pod with random Euro of the week at the Sanderson. Take your time because this is important. This is to honor they need to play well. We can't just half-ass a loser random Euro of the week. And I need a second too.
I think. Oh, I know mine. A guy who's played well at Sandy before, in my opinion. I mean, not in my opinion. I believe Henrik Norlander. He loves a nice birdie fest. He's a Swede. I'm in on Henrik Norlander.
Let me tell you something about Henrik Norlander.
Oh, you got a nugget?
He's been T4, T4, T24, T2, T28 his last 5 starts at the Sandy. So you're right. He's a course horse. I think people, and because
Sandy
of that, people might have their eyes on him just because of that. I will say my random Euro of the week, he's not quite high enough on the odds board. He's there. Victor Perez. I'm on Victor this week.
He'll make the cut.
Yeah, he'll poke around the situation. That maybe Jeremy Paul. I could see Jeremy.
I was gonna say Jeremy Paul. He had a good start to this season last year.
And want to know what happens in those areas? Bermuda.
Man.
And to finish, Francesco's playing. Francesco got in a fight with Ted Scott. Who did you have most beef with in the fight? Who do you think looked the worst?
I mean, who
looked the dumbest?
Blatantly Jibo's fault. I think Bryson looked the dumbest for trying to defend him. He stepped right in his line, I think.
It was so funny seeing Scotty just not give a fuck. He couldn't have probably in that moment. He couldn't have probably been more frustrated with everything that was happening over the week.
Yeah.
But Molinari's playing. I was gonna say because each fall there's one guy who comes from playing terrible and plays good enough to save their card, and it's always usually a guy that we love and we need them to step it up, and there's somebody to watch. Our boy Tim Veeding, Viking Cup.
Tim Veeds.
Horrible this year. He's 211th in the FedEx. We need something now.
We do. Need it now.
We need it now, Tim. That's what we need. All right. Let's see if Tim can do it this week.
Two Swedes.
Talk to you later.
Peace.